Hi everyone, welcome back to the Stitches and Scribbles channel. My name is Erin and I have lots of crafty things to show you today. So in case you don't know, every month I alternate between doing a podcast of all the books that I've read for the month and then one talking about all my crafty things that I've been working on. So if you're here for the book content, you can check out the previous podcast episode, which should have been posted 2 weeks ago. If you're here for crafty stuff, then stay for a while. I have a lot of ongoing projects to show you. Well, not a ton, but several, we'll say it that way, as well as a few finished objects to show you and what might be my final Joann's craft supply haul. Very sad, but I'll show you what I got at the end of the video. Let's start with finished objects. Specifically, the three finished objects I'm going to show you, but two of them are the same thing. Oh, I have another one. I have lots of finished objects, but the ones that are off to the side here are actually all going to be addressed in videos coming out, I think this month. I'm now going to double check that they're both coming out this month before I say so. Yes, they're both coming out this month. So by now you will have already seen the crochet coffee cup tutorial that I came out with. If you haven't checked it out yet, it should be the most recent video other than this one on my channel, where I teach you how to make this little amigurumi coffee mug. I think that this is a super cute gift. I originally designed it for a friend who asked if I could make her a coffee cup plushie, and I then had to recreate it to make it into a design that I could share with all of you. So if you're looking for a very simple amigurumi, because it's really just circles and working in the round with no increases and a little handle, this is a nice and easy one that you can check out on my channel. Coming out towards the end of the month, I'm going to be doing a video talking about the famous / infamous Sophie scarf. I have completed 2 of them. I did alter mine a little bit, so they are longer than the original pattern because I included some length where I was not increasing or decreasing as the pattern calls for. But I have a video coming out with all of my thoughts on this pattern, the hype around it, all that stuff. My final finished object I'm actually wearing. I forgot that that's why I wore it, but this is actually my Halloween cowl, which is a tutorial on my channel. But this one I made in shades of blue and yellow, and I have actually remade a cowl with this yarn several times. My first iteration of it was knit. The second one was crocheted, and it was actually my practice round for making the Halloween cowl, but I didn't like how big I had made the neckline. It was actually much bigger than this originally. So I frogged it back and worked on it again. So now I think it is in its final version. I think I'm happy with it now. This is a set of mini skeins from Emma's yarn that were dyed inspired by Milwaukee. So I was really excited to pick this up when I saw it at my local yarn store. Let's talk about things I've got in progress. So I've been kind of bouncing around projects for a while as far as what I've been working on. I definitely have a lot of projects that I haven't picked up in a while, so if you're wondering where certain projects are, it probably just means I didn't work on them this month. I don't really mind having long-term whips. If I want to work on something and then don't want to work on it for a while, I don't usually have a problem with that until it becomes that an issue that they're taking up too much space, which I don't think I have reached that yet. So that one's not a problem for now, but I do have a fair number of projects going at the moment, including one that I kind of pulled out of my long-term whip pile. So let's go ahead and start with that one first. The project that I pulled back out after a while is my scrap raglan sweater that I'm making. I followed a video tutorial for just a basic raglan that talked about how to do the increases and the measurements correctly, and I am holding together Lion Brand Kobu yarn in this teal color with a bunch of my wool sock yarn scraps to make all of the little stripes. I also added some increases along the side because I generally like my tops and sweaters to flare out. So every 6 rows, I'm doing 2 increased stitches on either side to give it kind of that flared look. So I am now getting to the point where the body is like maybe 2/3 complete. I also like my tops and sweaters to be fairly long. So it's definitely going to be more tunic length than anything else. But I'm really liking how this is working up so far. It does have quite a bit of weight to it. It's going to be a very heavy sweater when it's done. But I'm really enjoying going back through all of my scraps and making use out of them in this really bright, colorful, funky sweater that I think will be really fun to wear to school when I'm done. So I have actually been using this as my like TV project the last couple, even just the last couple days. I wouldn't even say weeks. I pulled it back out fairly recently. But I am excited to keep going with it and hopefully get it done before the next cold season, which at this point where I live, we'll maybe have another like short bout of cold weather, but since we're heading into March, I'm filming this on March 1st, we probably won't have too much more cold weather before it starts warming up. So if I can have that done before like next December, then I'll be happy. Other projects that I have been working on, I have started another star baby blanket. So last month, if you didn't see it, I did a video reviewing the star blanket patterns by Betty McKnit. So I'm actually working on another one. Here's what it looks like so far. I started with white in the middle and now I'm working on orange. It will also have navy blue. This is a baby blanket for a friend who does a lot of things themed for the university that she went to. So I was doing a baby blanket in those colors in order to match. And I think that I'm also going to do some sort of a decorative little like poster where you can like move a circle to show how many months old the baby is, because I've seen a lot of those like flat lay pictures that are on a blanket where they show like how many months old baby is for pictures. So I'm kind of trying to put together a kit for that. If you heard the heat kick on, by the way, I apologize. It's not super warm out yet. I think it's supposed to be like 50 something degrees today. So still need the heat on, even though it is so much better than it was a few weeks ago. But that has been my main crochet project recently. The next project I have going, I can only give you a little sneak peek of because it's my next pair of Taylor Swift socks. But one of my crafting goals for this year, actually my 2 crafting goals, were to actually finish all of my Taylor Swift socks and to practice color work. So I have the tiniest little color work cuff on my next pair of Taylor socks. So if you think you know what album or what song it's for based on that little peek, you can leave that in the comments. But I can't show you too much of that one. That's going to be one of my April videos, is showing that pair of socks when it's finished. Probably towards the end of April, looking at my calendar that I have for all of my videos. The next project that I have also was for my color work goal. This was my birthday cast on. I did do a short showing how I set all that up and what patterns I'm using. So you can check out that short if you want to see the very beginning of the project. But I took 2 of the doodle cowl patterns by Jamie Lomax, and I'm kind of using some designs from both. I already had the holiday doodle cowl pattern from a couple years ago, and I also purchased the striped doodle cowl. And this is what the project looks like so far. So I'm just using a huge variety of colors to make this piece. And I'm really trying to work on maintaining even tension. This obviously will still need to be blocked when it's done. But I used to run into that my color work tension was so much tighter than the rest of my tension. And I think I've got it fairly evened out at this point. This pattern, the like kind of plaid looking one, is probably the tightest just because it has the longest yarn floats in the back. But like for these little stripes, and even this like kind of geometric pattern and these diagonal stripes, I feel like my tension looks pretty good. It's really only this section so far that's pulling a little bit. But I've been really enjoying this project. It's kind of fun to pick it up every so often and do just one of the charts on like a Saturday or Sunday morning, just to get that color work practice in. That is also a project where I'm content with it being a long-term whip. It's not one that I want to like bust out and finish immediately. The point was to start it on my birthday, but if it lasts several months or even into next year, I don't really mind if that continues. My last whip that I was working on, I think I'm actually going to frog, sadly. I was experimenting with doing some knitted bandana cowls in order to like eventually have some knit bandana cowls to go with my crochet ones that I was doing towards the end of last year. And I started this one, which has a very interesting stitch design. It was called the Beehive Waffle Stitch, I believe. And I did like how it was looking, but I wanted to avoid any stitches that would curl on the finished project, and I think this one is going to curl. So I think I'm going to end up frogging this one and using the yarn either for a different cowl design or for something else entirely. I might actually want another Sophie scarf in this. I'm also trying to figure out if I can do a Sophie scarf and a knitted bow tie from the same skein, which I'm realizing is my other whip. I'm just kind of all over the place today. I'm also working on another bow tie pattern. So I have the Friday bow tie for sale on in my Etsy shop, which is a knit in the round stockinette stitch bow tie. And I was working on making one that is knit flat in order to use less yarn, but it's inspired by the Sophie scarf because it has that same I-cord edging on it. So this one is in a really neon yellow, but I am hoping that I can get to a point where I can make a bow tie and a Sophie scarf from the same set of yarn, or from the same skein of yarn, so that my husband and I can have matching pieces. I thought that would be fun. And I believe those are all of my like active whips. Obviously, like I said before, there are some that are in kind of my long-term whip storage, but those are the ones that I've been like really working on for the last few weeks since I did my last podcast. On to the final part of this video, which is going to be my Joann haul. So I did go back with a friend last weekend when I'm filming this, so it would have been like February 22nd or 23rd that we went. I'm looking at my calendar now so I can see when it was. Yeah, it was Saturday the 22nd was when we went to Joann. We went because we weren't sure what the sales were going to look like. There were definitely some sales going on, and it was absolutely packed at our Joann store, but the percentage off we were getting wasn't actually that good. It wasn't like a huge blowout sale or anything. I don't know if they will have had one since then when this video finally airs. But we went because we knew it was going to get cleaned out fast. So we went ahead in to see what was there, and we did both leave with some things. My friend makes a lot of the like fleece tie blankets, so she was getting fabric. I got some yarn and notions for both crochet and sewing machine stuff, because I would like to do that over the summer too, is finally use my sewing machine. Oh, actually, before we get into the stuff from Joann, I did get 2 skeins of yarn from Amazon. These are both the Regia sock yarns, and these just have colored numbers instead of names, but I got this really pretty one that's light blues, light greens, and purples. I think I mentioned in a previous video that I seem to have misplaced 3 of my Taylor Swift socks. So when I saw this, I thought it would be a good replacement for my Wildest Dreams socks. Even though I have another skein of that same yarn, if I do remake it and then the pair of socks turns up, I don't want them to be exactly the same. But I thought that this would be a pretty substitute for that. And then I also got this colorway that's very dark with some like primary jewel tones in there that I just thought was interesting. So those are from Amazon. Let's talk about Joann. I got 2 skeins of the Mandala bonus bundle in the color Satyrs. So it's kind of caramels, grays, raspberries, purples. 2 skeins of that. I thought I could do a hexagon cardigan tutorial at some point. So you can keep an eye out for that. I also got 2 skeins of Patton's Croix socks in the color coal. So it's just the plain black. These I think are going to get used for a pair of Taylor Swift socks. Won't tell you what album it's for, but it might be another colorwork design. So I had to get some solid black for that. And then I also got 2 skeins of Patton's Croix Sock FX in the colorway Clover colors. So it's reds, olives, a little bit of like deep teal, some like olivey browns and greens, and like a spring green color. But it's a marled yarn, just like the one that I used for my Speak Now socks. And then I grabbed a few crochet hooks because they have the Susan Bates crochet hooks, which are the ones that I prefer. So I just grabbed what I could while I was in there. And then everything else I got is sewing notions. So I got some thread in white, black, and beige just to have that ready for when I do start sewing. And I got some needles for my sewing machine because I didn't know if I had any, if they came in the box or anything, and some pins as well. So that's kind of it for my Joann haul. I am really sad that Joann's will be closing. That is my favorite big box yarn store and the one that I went to the most frequently, especially once both Michaels and Hobby Lobby really decreased their yarn offerings. Joann still had the biggest available, so yeah, that one's kind of sad. I will say that I have kind of switched over more to preferring local yarn stores and higher quality yarns. I use a lot more wool sock yarn than I used to, but there are definitely some things where I still appreciate having a budget option, and I think at this point for myself I'll probably be looking more online for those budget options, like ordering directly from producers websites like Lion Brand, or I might investigate things like Jimmy Bean's wool, or like Hirschner's I know has some similar products, so I'll probably be looking into those for my more budget yarn needs. But that's going to be it for this episode of the podcast. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in seeing all of my stuff here on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. And if you would like to follow me on other social media sites, check the description box. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.